Yo, this is Juwan, and this is CYON, and this is an outlet for entrepreneurs to tell your story, to get in the know, to relieve your stress, to create your own narrative.
Yo, it's Create Your Own Narrative, man. CYON. We're here again with another segment of the Game Room. How y'all doing today?
Good.
We're doing good. We're doing good.
What's good?
So today's topic is going to be generational curses. We're going to speak on that and get deep in detail and try to figure out some ways that we can help the community, help each other, and just come up with some foundation to our culture. So I want to introduce everybody. We're going to start to the right down. Big Dice.
Not the little one.
We got Smooth Black in the building. We got Ajay,
Hi. Thank you so much for that.
God's favorite.
Okay.
Make sure y'all pay attention to the shirt.
Mike Slim.
Boom. There we go.
Cliff Worthy.
Cliff Worthy. There we go. So they came out tonight, so we're going to check in. We're going to talk a lot about generational curses. So my first question I have, I'm going to ask Cliff, what's one generational curse that you could say that you know in your family that you either trying to break or have broken?
Mine's, I broke mostly of my generation curses in my family. One is I don't drink. All my brothers, I'm the baby boy. I come from 6. My mother adopted 9 of us in total. But me, I'm the only one out of all of them do not drink. My brother's been shot. Every single one of my brothers, all 6 of them have been shot, stabbed, sold drugs. I'm the baby boy. So that's really the main reason I don't drink. And generate curses, I can go through that a little bit, down the stretch, because I think mine's a little deep.
I like that. So start with a lady, Dice.
I would say my family curse or, bad habit is financial illiteracy. Like everyone on both sides of my family have touched large amounts or decent amount of monies or did something, but they have nothing to show for it. So for myself, I'm very intentional, like with my businesses and putting my money up and realizing what's like important, what's not important. Like I'm a very humble person, but like on paper, it's a different person. Just because if I have kids which I don't have any yet, but if I have like kids and stuff, I want to be able to pass them down more than materialistic items. So I feel like out of my whole family, probably like 2 people are really like on their business and stood on business, like, and trying to make like, generational wealth. So that's like my family curse, just being financially literate to understand like, hey, you're making a certain amount of money. This is what you need to do with it. Don't die with it.
I like that. Mike, go ahead. Take you next.
My family's generational curse that I want to break, like, I want to pave the way so they can have opportunity to do anything that they see out here in their future, whatever they want to bring to the light, to the world. I just want them to know, like, anything you put your mind to is just possible. Just stick to it.
God's favorite.
Foolishness. I would say my family's challenge is hyper independence. I think that generationally, of course, prior to everybody kind of had to get out in the mud by themselves. But I know specifically that in my intermediate family, a lot of the times my dad would just expect us to kind of figure it out because he could just figure it out. However, my sister and I and my brother, we want support. We want help. We kind of want to do it as a team effort. So I kind of had the same mentality towards my sister. Like, I'm not helping her because nobody helped me. But the reality was, in order for me to kind of change that trajectory, I had to start inviting her into my processes. So if you was going through this, what would you do? Or how can you support me in this at the same time so that you then don't have to deal with what I'm dealing with? So kind of using it as a community base rather than just like, well, if I got out the mud, then you on your own. So kind of keeping that family dynamic going with more dependence healthily rather than just independent.
I like that too. See? God's favorite. Go ahead, Smooth.
I think everybody kind of like had a piece of something I was gonna say. I would say starting from zero and like investing into our youth and our family, like all the kids. Like I think we grow up where each child try to either compete with each other, try to be by themselves, I think, or growing up. So I feel as though if we invest in the youth to try to keep them together, they can create a stronger foundation for everybody in our family, like financially, spiritually, mentally, and everything. So I think that's something that I would say is a generational tradition.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll share mine. My generational curse, I believe, is within being a father. Men stepping up to the plate and providing more than just financial stability. So I know my dad, he wasn't around too much. His dad wasn't around too much. His dad wasn't around too much. So I took the initiative to make sure that was something I would break and try to keep breaking. So I think that's important that we just keep being leaders, feel me, leaders of trying to make a change, especially when it comes down to our families. I know you spoke about your brothers. When you spoke about your brothers and being more in detail with the generational curses, I just wanted to get into that. What made you, want to be different and want to be the person to break everything? What made you want to be your mom's, baby boy and take that role on?
Shoot, man, this started from high school. None of my brothers played sports. I played sports at Dwyer. Then after Dwyer, shoot, my mom, she sent me straight off to Job Corps. And then Job Corps, I learned like a particular trade, electrical. And then from electrical, I went to HBCU, Albany State University. Started learning avionics, which is aviation dealing with aircraft. My father, he was in my life. My stepfather was in my life. My father was in the military. He did Morse code. For people that's out there that's not familiar with Morse code, that's our signal. Say if you lost in a war where you have to almost use dolphin frequency, how to communicate back to the base. My father didn't even know, but at the time he was working with a particular infantry 508, and that was it was CIA basically. What he used to do, he used to operate, he used to do the Morse code, he used to send it back, but he never knew who he used to work for. My father, after that, he started disappeared out of my life. My mother, she got remarried. My brother was never there. So me growing up, me dealing in sports, my brother wasn't there. My mom, she was like a police officer for West Palm Beach. So that means she had long hours. She wasn't there. My two sisters, they was in like, cheerleading. I was like the big brother. My brother was on and off. My oldest brother, he got shot in the head. My second oldest brother, he got stabbed from the belly button all the way to his abdominal. My third oldest brother, he got shot 5 times. My fourth oldest brother got shot by AK-47, a particular area called downtown, which is Tamron. They had to do a closed casket. So, yeah, and I was off, still going through school. I was still in college, and me just learning that and seeing what wasn't out there that I didn't need to do, I started to just get into economics or get into books. And then I went off to school for aviation, went to aviation school in Dallas. Went from Dallas, I started to get my CDLs, graduated from aviation, building aircraft, really doing everything from the structure of aircraft, from the body, from everything about airplanes. And from that, I went over to trucking, got my CDLs. So when I say I stand out from my brothers, it's almost like they look up to me. So I never was the one who wanted to go back and say, since I did everything, let me have something. I feel like I have a lot of wisdom now that I left Dallas. Now I want to come back and actually start a aviation program for the inner city kids. That's really something I'm doing right now with a particular group that I chose to work with. So when you talk about generation curses,
You broke it.
yeah,
Good job.
May I
bro.
ask
Within
a
my family.
question?
Hey, that's what's up, bro.
But
How did you cope with all of that happening around the same time? If you don't mind me asking.
traveling, deep thinking, really deep thinking. I mean, not even really getting into a relationship with a female, and I just really stayed to myself. I don't have no kids. I'm 34, no kids. I've been in 25 different states. I just love to travel and just coping with that. Just reading, get into history, get into giving back. I started a program also in Dallas where we take the inner city kids, take them to a particular airport Let them look at the planes that they never imagined that was so big. Let them get involved in that, and just let them get outside of basketball, get outside of out of entertainment. Yeah, yeah. That's really how I cope. I cope with the city kids.
Cliff the Myth. That's what I call him. Cliff the Myth, man. 'Cause he got some stories to tell. So, Mike, I know you do a lot with the next level. You know, with the new kids and everybody coming up in the financial literacy. Tell me how you doing that is breaking the generational curse.
That right there, we breaking the general curse. We breaking the generational curse by we giving back to the community with things we ain't never had coming up. Like I can't remember somebody pulling us to the side to teach us about how to save a dollar, how to value a dollar. Wasn't nobody teaching us that coming up. So like we try to implement it to them early on how to save, how to create a business, how to like start credit lines and everything like that. Just so when it's their time, they got like the knowledge to at least go about something or at least have a fair chance at life, just how everybody else should have.
How many people knew about credit before they turned 21?
Only because of my daddy. If it was not for him, I would not have known. And he's been, anything he learns, he constantly shares. Overshares, to be honest, but only because of him.
See, it worked. Yeah. Now you know. So I know you speak a lot about your dad and growing up and the type of, I guess you could say, household you had. You took the initiative when you said to lead your sister, you know, bring her more into your room. How's that relationship and how's that going with breaking it down and breaking that curse? Do you feel like you're accomplishing it? She's listening to you. How's that working out?
It has been difficult. I think we've kind of found a groove. And I think more of the difficulty came where our dynamic got closer and my parents kind of felt like it was the kids versus the parents. Because my mom kind of has her own way of doing things. My dad has his own way of doing things. Of course, being the man in the house, he's kind of, you know, leading the way. But there would be some times where her and I would kind of team up unconsciously, and he would feel like, okay, y'all tag teaming. But it's like at the end of the day, we know we have each other in this. And so we had to get my parents to understand that us building this type of sibling dynamic looks different because my mom was only child. My dad was probably the 7th out of the 8th kid. And they kind of just did what they wanted to do. So it was difficult in trying to get her to realize that I'm not trying to parent you. I'm just trying to make sure you don't do what I do. But at the same time, it was a shocker for my dad to see from our perspective that what support we needed. And unfortunately, in the beginning, we kind of had to find it in each other because my brother, a whole different story, but he just kind of had his own way of wanting us to grow up. And for us, it was like, it works best if we do it together. So that way you don't have too many issues for too long. So it was difficult, but I think the intentionality and just the patience through it kind of just helped to kind of find a rhythm. So we found it.
Make broke a curse.
Yeah.
Now y'all together.
Now we together.
Dice. I know you spoke. I know you vibing over there, man. She is vibing, bro. Thought she was in her own music video for a minute. How she turned around. I know you spoke about. My bad. I didn't mean to call you out like that. I know you spoke about, you know, being the one to be able to take care of the bread and set these foundations. As everybody know, you're a bomb bartender. So what type of foundations do you plan to set up for yourself to break that curse and be able to, you know, be the breadwinner and handle it the right way?
I want to be a serial entrepreneur. I have like it might sound like crazy, but I'm the predator, not the prey type of mentality. Like, I'm kind of like a leader. Whenever I work at people's job, I make their job better. So that kind of set my entrepreneur mind, like, if I can turn everybody else up, why you can't turn yourself up? So instead of for like, oh, I'm gonna hire you and I'm gonna make you the manager, you're gonna make my business run great. No, I'm gonna find out how to do LLCs. I'm gonna learn how to take out credit cards and learn usage and learn how to look at properties and do all of that stuff. My father has been in my life since I was born. And since I've known him, he's had restaurants. He knows how to do construction. He knows how to do all of that. So if I want to go buy 5 duplexes, I got daddy. You can flip them. If I want to go open a med spa, all my aunts, my mom, everybody are nurses. Why aren't we using this education? Why aren't we using our team to level up? So right now, I'm teaching my mom how to be an entrepreneur. I'm trying to do something with her by the end of the summer because I want to sow these seeds that, mommy, you don't have to work every day. You're about to be 65 years old and you're working for somebody else. But if I put you in a certain position, you ain't got to work for nobody no more. Daddy, you like to cook. You like to renovate. If I go get you a food truck, you can do whatever you want to do. You can cook all day. That's what makes you happy. So my answer would basically be, I'm just sowing seeds. I'm finding what everybody's strong point is around me, and my goal is to turn everybody up. You got to bring something to the table, but I can see all of y'all's strong points. But I'm the one with the motion. Okay. So if I put everybody in position to do what they need to do, I think that just my family unit as a core, we can be a very strong unit. So I'm just trying to put everybody in a position that we ain't got to work for nobody no more. Like, I feel like we're very hardworking, good people. Like, we got a certain type of energy to us. Like, if we really just do it as a team and stop that, oh, I can do it on my own. You can't. You can't. And if you do, it's hard. And you're going to end right back to square one where we are now. None of y'all don't have nothing y'all had in the 80s. Y'all don't have nothing y'all had in the 90s. Y'all got nice houses and fly cars and stuff, but where your business? What you going to leave us? Clothes and shoes? I don't want that.
Fly girl. I'm with Smooth. I see you, bro. I see you. Don't worry, I see you. One thing I can say about Smooth, I can say generational. He doing his thing, you know, for his first time business owner in his family, first time of being a lot of things. So how does it feel, bro, to be a first time, bro? Because no matter what you say, we're not gonna call it a curse. We're gonna call it something else. You did a lot, bro, and I'm very proud of you.
Get into the behind the scenes.
Let me know, how does it feel to be the first, bro?
Like I said, you know me personally since growing up. You know, a lot of things for us hasn't been easy, but I feel as though like it kind of built me to be somebody who I aim to be. So a lot of things like that's why my biggest thing, like I said, is for the youth, right? I feel as though like kind of what Mike said, if we had somebody to step us aside and bring us to teach us different things, it would be so much easier for us growing forward, right? So with me, it's like I do create businesses, I create opportunities, but I also find a way to like incorporate all the youth in our family, right? It's easy for us to grow up and like realize like you have 100 cousins, but a lot of y'all not together. Y'all don't learn the same thing, so it end up making y'all compete against each other. So then, you know, if parents get involved, things get involved. But I feel as though if we were to say like, okay, cool, y'all are blood. Why should we wait till we're older adults to come together to create a foundation of something? Like if we start investing in the youth, starting with our family owned, right? And putting things like that, like prime example, like I have life insurance policies, right? But not only do I have my son or something on it, I have my nieces and nephews on it, right? So not only should he feel as though if anything was to happen to me, he'll be good, but they should be good as well, right? Not only do like if I take my son somewhere, I mean, I create an environment so all my nieces and nephews can treat me just like as a father figure for anybody, right? I don't ever want no one to feel like they should be left out. They should wait to go look for the outside source when they have somebody like me in their lives, right? So first-time business owner, right? Everyone isn't going to own a business. But at the end of the day, I could teach out of all of them. Someone might own a business. The other person might be their partner. Their cousin might be their manager. All of those. So instead of already creating this program where you're trying to trust and believe in all these people, they can grow up with people that they see every day. That's their same bloodline, right? And that way, when they create a platform, it'll be stronger than ever because at the end of the day, they started from you, right? And they learned it. So I think that's been my biggest thing. Like I said, my backstory is kind of, you know, a little extensive, but at the end of the day, I feel as though that's why I'm glad to be here. I love to create opportunities. And
create your own narrative. You heard me?
Exactly.
Hey, boy, you just said a mouthful for real, bro.
And that's what I love. That's why all of you in this room, I believe everybody had a unique story. Everybody here I know is breaking the curse or have broken it. You feel me? Dice, she doing her thing. Smooth doing her thing. God's favorite. Smooth. Clip the myth. Yes, sir. Mike. So I don't know. I want to talk about the youth. I know we all been talking about the youth. What's some culture barriers, or we're not gonna call it curses because they're coming up, they're babies. So that's what we're gonna get them the benefit of the doubt. What type of culture deficiencies do you see coming up with our youth that we can address and change? We'll go with you first, Smooth, because you're ready, bro.
I would say the fact to be better than everyone, and not in a competitive nature, like to push each other forward, but I have to be better than you, so I have to degrade you, or kind of like take away from what you got going on. I think that's the biggest like mindset problem right now. Like, I can be better at something than you, but it doesn't mean I need to tear down what you got going on. So I think with that being said, with anything social media or just people who back a lot of us, like we'll be so happy, like and so you know what I'm saying, proud to tear somebody else down, just make ourselves look better. I feel as though if we would have changed that narrative by the mindset, like everybody can win. everybody can. Everybody can win in a different way though. Like somebody can win, can be first place, second place, third place, but this person can win in another whole nother area than this other person. But we shouldn't have to do that. I say that's one thing.
If the youth probably look at themselves as a team and everybody knew their role, if we can help kids find their role, I think that's a big thing too. If you can make them find themselves quicker, and they'll be able to adapt to life a little more.
I think to add to that is kind of figuring out where you add. And I think because sometimes we think that, like say we group projects, you have somebody who might take the lead, you might have somebody who types or kind of puts it together. You have other people that might feel like, okay, well, what do I even add to the group? Like, why am I important? And so I think that as you're encouraging them and getting them involved, it's also like reminding them and affirming them, though you're in your own lane, you're adding something to this. And I think that's something that adds to that mindset too. Like, people don't feel like what they're doing adds. They just feel like, okay, well, I got to tear you down in order for it to make sense, but it doesn't have to be that way.
Especially with the youth. Mike, what's up?
The choices they make.
Choices. You're not lying.
Cause choices gonna lead you like to longevity moves. Like one choice could set you back 5-10 years, or one choice could set you up 5-10 years to be ahead. Like, but it's about like the choices, what you stand on, what you want to go about, and what you trying to run down and chase in life. Like, but your choices got to be like chess moves. Everything count. Like, but choices got to be the thing. Like, that's gonna be the thing that get you further in life. The choices you make.
Cliff, I know you speak a lot about, me and you always talk about the youth and how much you want to give back and pour into them. With the program that you spoke about, taking the kids to see a different atmosphere, you personally and I personally know how much of a difference that makes. What level do you feel like if we can do that more, it will make a big difference in our youth?
Oh man, it's going now.
Yikes. Yikes.
Got the soccer, but what else we supposed to do? So there's no stem cells. There's no kids how to turn AC into DC current. There's no Big Brother program. I mean, that's really nothing. I mean, Palm Beach County right now, you got a handful of middle school that have those type of magnet programs to elevate their kids to go into high school and run off and do their thing.
Basically.
So that's it right there. A lot of programs. We got to get more programs to school.
Well, I like that. We do. We definitely need that. Dice, what you still in your music video?
I'm here, bro.
What do you think we could do for the youth? What's the problem you think we have, and what's the way that we can fix it? You know, break these curses, or we're not gonna call them curses.
You know,
deficiencies.
I kind of really agree with like Cliff. Like, these kids are so boxed in and they don't have nothing to do. These kids different. I don't even have no kids. I'm kind of scared to have kids because this world is so different right now. Like, but I am an aunt. I am a godmother, and I'm like the cool one. They know not to play with me, but they're very comfortable talking to me. These kids they're kind of like boxed in, or like nothing is making their wheels turn. Like, they so consumed by iPads and internets and just like they almost need to go outside.
Yeah, we used to be outside.
Like, they actually like need to fall and scrape their knee, or like be tougher, like know that, hey, you don't have to be a basketball player. You can play with Legos and be an engineer. Hey, you don't have to be a football player. You can like music and learn how to write music and compose music, and you can be like, you can be more than just what we're used to being, especially as a culture. Like, there's so much to life. Like, you don't have to be, oh, I need my son and my daughter to be a basketball player, a doctor, or a lawyer. That's not their strong point. If you see your kids sitting down every day and want to do beads and arts and crafts, you need to buy them more of that, because they have art. They have an artsy state of mind. If you have a son that want to break down computers and play with Legos and do all that type of stuff, you need to buy him more builder blocks, because he can be an engineer. If you have a son that like planes and trains, get him a whole set. He can be a pilot. He can do aviation. Like, challenge these kids. Like, whatever you see your kid lean towards, fill them up. Fill them up. See what it can be, see what it can become. I don't care if my child want to be a violinist. I'm gonna buy you every trombone, violin, whatever you want, so you can be the best person that you are. Not that I want you to be, or not what anybody else wants you to be, what you want to be. So I just feel like we need to pour more into our kids and go back to like sowing seeds, as I said. Like show them like you can be anything you want to be. Do we have really the tools to put you there? Maybe not right now, but we're gonna work on it.
We can build up.
In the words of Rich Auntie.
Literally. And I empathize with that. If I may add something small, as she said, communicate. We got to talk to these kids, and they got to talk to each other, honestly. Because what we're doing now is talking to each other. It's great, but we didn't have necessarily this example prior to us, and then we didn't have people talking about real things, to be honest. Like, they're the same type of conversations that are happening all the time. And I think conversations like this, talking to them about what they like, what they don't like, what they're seeing in the world, kind of gives you the insight. Because they know a lot of things. These kids on TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram, I mean, they own everything. And they have access to so much information. And so they're talking to each other. And they're only on their, their level of thinking at whatever age they're at. So I think that we have to get to a place to where we're starting to have real and honest conversations with them and letting them talk. I had the pleasure of moderating one of the Bro You Goods, and there was a young man in there. I think he was only 18, but the room created a space to where he could share what he had been going on in his own world at that time. And I think having more spaces like that, talking about real things and kind of figuring out what they need in that moment, definitely will help in them kind of, changing the trajectory. Yeah.
Okay.
go
ahead.
Oh, I want to say I got a little input on when you say TikTok. When I think they did the comparison of United States TikTok and a different country, which is what, like China and TikTok. Their TikTok is more very, very advanced. How to build a drone.
Hello.
How to turn gas into steam.
Meanwhile, we doing 1-2 steps.
Yeah, exactly. While we learning how to dance and stuff like that. So that's another distraction that we keeping ourselves your boss into not elevate.
That's crazy though. I ain't know that.
Yeah, TikTok with like Chinese in China, they're very, very expensive. I mean, not expensive when it comes to like buying things, but expensive. Okay, if I make this, I know what I can get put back in myself, not in myself, but in my community. One more other thing, there's another kid. I think he's a Chinese kid on YouTube, and he do nothing but strictly open toys. I think he make over 40.
Yes, Ryan.
Come on, you see what I'm saying? So
Ryan.
things like that.
JC watching that.
Funny in him, bro. Just opening toys.
Giving that man money to watch some Wild Man.
Yeah, they're telling you, okay, this is the best toy. Okay, then you look at the views this man getting. He's getting over 1 million views, and you could throw an ad on his own video. He's still getting money off that, and he's a kid.
He's set.
Yeah, he is
He's
set.
like 6 years old.
Yeah.
And that's crazy how fast technology is and how much our kids can really. Yeah. They can come here.
We can use it to our advantage,
Use it
but
to our advantage.
we're not talking to them to figure out what they're interested in. We tell them to go outside and play basketball when they want to. They might want to be a social media influencer and might have a good strategy. They might have something that can actually do some great influencing, but we don't know because we're not talking to them.
I think that's something I want to do this summer. I know me and Tony was talking about it, like maybe like once a week. I mean, not even once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks. We go around the summer camps. That's when we do the It Takes a Village campaign again.
Ooh, nice.
We can go get them goodie bags, talk to them and vibe, kick it, play in the gym. So, as long as more people we can have, more people that'll listen.
Sign me up.
Them kids love to listen now. They ain't no joke.
No, I don't. Listen, outside of being the best bartender around, I'm in the medical field. I wear scrubs Monday through Friday.
Yeah. Tell them.
Mimosas and,
and on the
tequila
weekends.
on Saturday.
I have a very serious job, and then I have a fun job.
And it's the funner job.
This is the funner job.
Well, I'm very proud of y'all, man. I'm very proud of what each and every one of y'all are doing. So I'm going to pass the floor to Smooth because you about to say something to me. Go ahead.
I think you created a platform for all of us to, talk about things like that. But I think, you don't commend yourself enough. So I think, us being here is a commitment to who you are and a testament as well, because I think you talk about generation curses, right? You talked about it. But I don't think you elaborated on how the fact of, the role you play as a father, things like that. We all talked about our curses, but I want to make sure everyone knows, the role we play, how do we change it, right? In a sense, you as a father, right? We talk consistently, not always faithful, but commend you. You never had a problem having a question. I had a son before you did, right? But in the day, you never took it as oh, well, I need my son to be better than him. But it's more so we we could talk about anything. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we talk about kids being together, going to birthday parties. My son never had an event that you didn't show up to, right?
Exactly.
He still know you. He still know, you know what I'm saying, things like that. Jace, they also get Christmas gifts. One of your son's Christmas gifts still at my house, you know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying, though, so I think, like, you have to commend yourself as well by breaking the curse, but not only did you break it, but you stood on it. You continue doing it, you know what I'm saying?
Toes.
And not only did you stand on it, you make sure people around you solidify who they are in that role as well, right? And that's something that you should always be proud of, because in the day, it's a platform. But people need to really know, like, you stand on this platform just for everybody else, you know what I'm saying? So I think you really need to make sure you stand on that.
I mean, you know, we be trying to be humble with it, but, you know.
It's
No,
okay.
like-
People know. Give yourself your flowers, though.
Back to what he said, though. That's what I
Give
try to
yourself your
tell
The
flowers.
weight of it,
you.
honestly, because this looks cool, but it comes with a weight
Exactly.
It's
and
fun.
responsibility as well.
The generational curse being broken right here,
alright.
right on set, right on live.
first.
That is
Right,
true.
right,
Like,
right.
Everybody cheers up.
to
Then we get it.
Strong
What
drinks and
this
good
is.
vibes.
But dog, put up a mic.
This might have to be a. This might have to be a what you call it, a blooper or something. Create your own narrative. The platform is really for people to find themselves. So, say for instance, somebody like me, like I think, say growing up, I can play sports, I was good in school, whatever the case may be, but I never found nothing that felt like me. You feel me? So everything was okay. I'm just doing it. I'm going through the motions. When I started to find my own way and find my own self, create your own narrative came along, and it taught me a lot. It is a burden because a lot of people look up to you, and that's the part that I'm getting used to. Feel me? People
Heavy
looking
that
up to
wears the
you,
crown.
and you got to stand on it. You know what I'm saying? You got to set these examples. So I think the best part about it is having somebody to guide me. You feel me? Tony makes sure that I stay, both of them, Tony, everybody, really, to be honest, they make sure I understand that it's bigger than me. And that's the part that I never really got into until maybe like last year. So then we came around, we kept going, we kept doing it. It gets bigger and bigger, and then the gala came this year. Now that right there just changed my life, you feel me? Because we thought a lot about it, and
The second annual.
and that shit was a movie. I'm sorry, that shit was a movie. It was. And when Tony gave up the idea, he said, bro, this gonna hit. I'm like, yeah, bro, that's it. And then he said, bro, explain everything what we about. Bringing people together to show your platform, to show your strengths, to show your pride, to what you stood on in all these years and pain. So creating your own narrative is me, you feel me? It's me, it's you, it's you, it's you, it's you, it's you, it's you. It's everybody who's standing on 10 toes and taking gratitude and walking the earth with God's favor. Boom.
That's what CNN do. They create their own narrative, right?
I ain't lie, bro. Don't get me He not lying. They gonna X us.
I just want to ask a question, like, how are we going to make sure we challenge ourselves going forward to make sure that this isn't just a generational curse, and we're not just one-offs? Like, what's the challenge to ourselves, each one of us? We can all answer it. Like, what's the challenge to ourselves that we're going to create to face to make sure that we're that generational curse, not just for our family, but for others around us that we can touch?
I just go one word: consistency.
Come on.
You got to be consistent with it.
Yeah.
Discipline.
And just make sure the
Discipline.
game that you have in your brain, make sure everybody else around have that same game in their brain, so we all could do what we supposed to do.
There's a saying, iron sharpens iron.
Boom. And we sharpening up in here. I better get loaded, and we loaded.
I do 5 things a day. Something that's kind every day. 5 things. I try to be kind to somebody or say something kind to somebody every day, 5 times a day.
Period. Cliff just
That's
exudes
crazy.
good
Nah, that's why
vibes.
you be doing what you be doing, bro. Okay.
What about you, celebrity?
I had to think about it for a second. Transparency. Because I think that a lot of the times we aren't being honest about how heavy the crown can be. Not to complain, but to keep it realistic. Because I think that entrepreneurship and, curse breakers and forerunners and trailblazers, all these things sound great, but sometimes we don't give people the other side of how much you have to submit or surrender or kind of deal with or handle by yourself with other people. So transparency is something that I am making sure that I continue to challenge myself in to make sure I don't just look like I got it, but really tell people, like, this is what I'm doing to make sure I maintain it. So that was a great question.
Okay.
You gonna give an answer?
Oh, I'm challenging myself basically to, like, like I said, make sure no one I can touch or influence part of the youth or anything come from me. Start from ground zero, meaning like, yes, it's okay to work for things, stuff like that, but it isn't. I shouldn't create a path or work this hard for them to start at zero, meaning nothing, no guidance, no knowledge, no anything, no financial stability, anything like that. So I think that's my challenge, to make sure everyone I can touch or I can put in, I can give them something from me, right? So they don't start at zero.
Well, put my hat on backwards. I might zoom out there. Well, I thank all of y'all for coming. Breaking generational curses was the topic, but we don't got no curses over here, as my man said. It's just little deficiencies. Just a little deficiency. So it's create your own narrative, man. CYON. I want to thank y'all for another segment of the Game Room and a wonderful guest.
Pleasure.
Now we about to get lit.
TR.